Welcome to a special edition of our tennis coverage. If you were anywhere near the Foro Italico in Rome today, you felt the ground shake. You felt the electricity crackling through the heavy, humid Italian air. All of Rome roared, and they roared for a 20-year-old phenom who is single-handedly rewriting the history books of her nation and the sport itself. ALEXANDRA EALA filled the stadium, captured the hearts of the Eternal City, and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is the ultimate superstar of this new generation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this deep dive analysis into a match, a moment, and a movement that has taken the tennis world by storm. Today, we are breaking down ALEXANDRA EALA's monumental, gritty, and career-defining victory at the 2026 Italian Open over Poland's Magdalena Frech. This was not just a first-round win. This was a statement of arrival on the red clay, a surface that demands not just physical endurance, but an unbreakable mental fortitude. EALA delivered a breathtaking performance, triumphing 6-0, 3-6, 6-4 in a grueling 2-hour and 7-minute battle that had the crowds at the Stadio Pietrangeli on the absolute edge of their seats. To understand the magnitude of this victory, we have to look at the stakes. The Internazionale BNL d'Italia is a WTA 1000 event. It is a crucible where champions are forged right before Roland Garros. It is where the pressure is immense, the clay is unforgiving, and the competition is absolutely ruthless. EALA, coming in as the world number 42, was facing a seasoned veteran in the 28-year-old Frech, a player who knows how to grind down her opponents. But EALA stepped onto that historic court, surrounded by the towering marble statues of the Foro Italico, and immediately imposed her will. She unleashed a masterclass in the opening set, a flawless 6-0 bagel that left the Polish veteran scrambling for answers. The sheer explosive power from EALA's left-handed forehand was devastating. She was hitting through the heavy, gloomy Roman conditions, dictating the rallies from the baseline, and winning an astounding 67% of her first serve points. It was a flawless display of aggression and precision. But, as any true tennis aficionado knows, the clay gives and the clay takes away. Momentum is a fickle friend on the surface. As the match progressed into the second set, the veteran Frech dug deep. She began to extend the rallies, utilizing her experience to disrupt EALA's rhythm. The 20-year-old Filipina star experienced a slight dip in her form, a natural occurrence in a match of this intensity, and Frech pounced, taking the second set 6-3. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. The ghost of Rome past could have easily crept into EALA's mind. Just last year, on this very same dirt, a 19-year-old EALA made her Rome debut and was swiftly dismantled in straight sets by Marta Kostyuk, losing 6-0, 6-1. The pressure was mounting. In the deciding third set, EALA found herself broken early, trailing 1-3. This is the exact moment where prodigies crack. This is where the hype train derails. But not ALEXANDRA EALA. She looked within, channeled the grueling hours spent at the Rafa Nadal Academy, and mounted a comeback that had the entire stadium erupting. She leveled the set, fought off a critical break point in the ninth game, and ultimately broke Frech one final time to seal the victory 6-4. This was a triumph of the spirit, as much as the swing. It was a roar of a superstar realizing her own immense power. Now, let's transition into a deeper analysis of exactly how ALEXANDRA EALA is architecting this spectacular rise, and why this specific victory in Rome is a microcosm of her evolution as a player. We need to look far beyond the final scoreline and examine the tactical brilliance, the physical conditioning, and the sheer historical weight that this young woman carries on her shoulders every time she steps onto the court. First, let us dissect the tactical adjustments that define this battle at the Foro Italico. EALA's game has always been anchored by her heavy, left-handed topspin, a natural advantage on clay, as it kicks up high onto the opponent's weaker side. However, the conditions in Rome this week have been challenging. EALA herself noted that the gloomy weather made the clay heavier, meaning the ball wasn't traveling as fast through the air or bouncing as high as it normally would. This external factor required a massive physical output to generate pace. In that breathtaking first set, EALA's footwork was immaculate. She was stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball early and rushing Frech. She was completely flawless behind her second serve, an area of her game that she and her coaching team, Joan Bosch and Luc Bauza, have relentlessly fine-tuned. But the true genius of Eala's performance was revealed in her problem-solving during the third set. When trailing 1-3, she didn't panic and try to hit her way out of trouble with low-percentage winners. Instead, she adjusted her court position. She began to construct points with incredible patience, matching Frekka's grit while waiting for the perfect opportunity to unleash her lethal forehand down the line. She incorporated beautifully disguised drop shots, a tactic she had been explicitly practicing earlier in the week with Germany's Laura Siegemund. The ability to execute a delicate drop shot when your heart is pounding and you are facing a deficit in a deciding set of a WTA 1000 event. That is a hallmark of an elite competitor. When she fought off that break point at 4-all in the final set, it wasn't just a point saved. It was a psychological hammer blow to her opponent. She broke Frekka's spirit before she broke her serve. To fully appreciate the athlete we are watching today, we must contextualize her journey. Alexandra Eala is not just a rising star. She is a trailblazer who is charting entirely new territory for Philippine tennis. Let us rewind slightly to the absolute explosion of her career in the 2025 season. That was the year she shattered the glass ceiling. She went into the WTA 1000 event in Miami as a wild card and produced a run that stunned the global tennis establishment. She registered back-to-back victories over top 10 mainstays like Madison Keys and, astonishingly, the world number 2 IGA Swiatek. She became the first player from the Philippines to ever reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. She didn't stop there. She reached her maiden tour final on the grass courts of Eastbourne, and then captured her first WTA 125 title on the hard courts of Guadalajara, battling back from a set down to claim the trophy. That historic 2025 campaign propelled her into the top 50, making her the first Filipino player in the Open era to achieve such a feat, and her momentum has only accelerated into 2026. By March of this year, she reached a staggering career-high ranking of world number 29. Do you realize the magnitude of that number? In a sport traditionally dominated by European and American powerhouses, a 20-year-old from Quezon City has established herself among the top 30 players on the planet. Her impact extends far beyond the WTA rankings. Eala is an absolute phenomenon when representing her country. She has led Team Philippines to undefeated sweeps in the Billie Jean King Cup, securing promotion to Group 1. She has collected gold and bronze medals across multiple SEA games and Asian games. Every time she plays, she carries the hopes of over 100 million Filipinos. And in a city like Rome, which boasts a vibrant and passionate Filipino diaspora, her matches transform into de facto home games. The atmosphere at Stadio Pietrangeli was electric, infused with national pride. Fans wrapped in the colors of the Philippine flag turned out in droves, creating a cacophony of support that undoubtedly fueled her during those grueling moments in the third set. Yet, despite this immense pressure, Eala remains remarkably grounded. When asked about the absence of her parents, Mike and Riza, for this specific first-round match, her response was telling of her maturity. She stated that while she cherishes their presence, she is a professional. She has played countless matches at this level, and their physical absence does not affect her ability to strike a forehand. This laser-sharp focus is terrifying for her opponents. She is able to compartmentalize the emotion, the history, and the expectations, distilling it all into the simple, brutal geometry of the tennis court. This deep dive would not be complete without analyzing her physical evolution. The modern women's game is more physical than ever before. To survive, let alone thrive, on the grinding European clay circuit, a player must possess extraordinary stamina and explosive power. Her fitness coach, Luck Bauza, has evidently put her through a rigorous regimen. The Eala we saw today is noticeably stronger and more dynamic than the teenager who debuted in Rome a year ago. She is absorbing the heavy blows of older, more physically developed players and returning them with interest. Her recovery between grueling points in the 2-hour and 7-minute marathon against Frek was phenomenal. She didn't fade. She accelerated as the finish line approached. Furthermore, her strategic scheduling shows a maturity beyond her 20 years. After facing challenges earlier in the clay swing, including a tough loss to Elise Mertens in Madrid, Eala and her team made the calculated decision to withdraw from a smaller event in Catalonia. Instead, She returned to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca to put in the hard yards on the practice court. She recognized a deficiency in her clay court sliding and movement, and she addressed it in the shadows before stepping back into bright lights of Rome. That dedication to continuous improvement, that refusal to accept mediocrity, is precisely why she is destined for Grand Slam glory. We are witnessing the construction of a complete, all-surface player. While her heavy topspin and baseline aggression are naturally suited to clay and hard courts, her impressive run to the final on the slick grass of Eastbourne last year proved her versatility. Eala possesses a high tennis IQ. She knows how to manipulate the pace, when to flatten out her ground strokes, and when to utilize angles. As she continues to gain experience on the main tour, as she plays on more show courts against the absolute elite, her tactical database will only expand. As we look to the horizon, the immediate future presents a thrilling challenge. With this gritty, spectacular first-round victory secured, Alexandra Eala advances to the round of 64 here at the Italian Open. Waiting for her is a formidable 31st seed, China's Wang Xinyu, who received a first-round bye. This is a matchup dripping with narrative intrigue. Fans will remember that it was Wang who ousted Eala in the semifinals of the ASB Classic in Auckland earlier this January, in a tightly contested three-set battle. Eala will undoubtedly be seeking redemption. She will be looking to prove that the lessons learned over the past 4 months, the physical gains made and the tactical adjustments implemented, are enough to overturn that previous result. If she can navigate past Wang, the potential of a third-round clash against the world number 2, Elena Rybakina, looms large, a blockbuster matchup that the entire tennis world would eagerly anticipate. But beyond the immediate draw, it is essential to appreciate the human element of this rising superstar. Despite the grueling demands of professional tour, Eala is embracing the journey. She spoke warmly of her experience in the Italian capital, referring to it by its legendary moniker, the Eternal City. She marveled at the history, the artistic statues surrounding the courts, and how it brings another dimension to the grueling grind of the tour. She is a 20-year-old exploring the world, happily indulging in a local pasta, and declaring her love for a good tiramisu. She is balancing the fierce intensity of a world-class athlete with the joy and curiosity of youth. This balance is crucial. It is what prevents burnout and sustains a long, fruitful career. In conclusion, what we witnessed today at the Foro Italico was not just a tennis match. It was a declaration. When all of Rome roared for Alexandra Eala, they were roaring for resilience. They were roaring for a young woman who refused to fold under pressure, who turned a 1-3 deficit into a glorious triumph. She filled the stadium not just with her immense talent, but with her undeniable presence. She proved that she is the ultimate superstar, a player capable of carrying the hopes of the nation, capturing the imagination of the global tennis community, and doing it all with a powerful left-handed swing and a champion's heart. The 2026 Italian Open has officially been put on notice. The Filipina phenom has arrived. She has conquered her first hurdle, and she is hungry for more. Thank you for joining me for this comprehensive deep dive into Alexandra Eala's spectacular victory. We will continue to follow her every forehand, every drop shot, and every historic milestone as she carves her legacy into the red clay of Rome and beyond. This is the beauty of tennis, and this is the era of Alexandra Eala. Stay tuned, because the best is undoubtedly yet to come.